Alright, this is in for repair, and the gentleman purchased this from an estate sale, and he plugged it in and he said that it works. All he could get is static, even though he did have a converter box, but he was told by the folks on the Antique Radio forum that it would burn down his house if it wasn't properly restored. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but we do know that if you are going to use this, and he's saying it's a 49, I don't know about that. We do know that you really need to go through and change a lot of the leaky caps on this and go through it and double check everything. I don't know if a solid metal portable set like this would burn your house down, but it might put out some smoke. And this is the type of thing where the owner really wants it repaired and working properly. So I'll probably just pull the chassis and go through and recap it. Not waste a bunch of time trying to Now he plugged it in and he said that he did get snow, but no reception. Of course, the first thing I want to do is get inside here and see what we got. Amazingly, it looks like it's got all the original screws in it. That's definitely a start. Wouldn't it be something if this was like a low-hour bedroom set type thing? Oh wow, look at that. Boy, what a unique design that is, instead of the kind of flat wraparound chassis that the GEs have. This thing's, well, it looks like, for starters, it looks like we have something right here. Looks like the selenium has been in fact, they didn't even bother to disconnect the selenium. They just bridged a diode across it. Oh, okay, I guess so. Whatever floats your wagon, I guess. Let's see what we got here. This one is branded Admiral. Wait, is there a tube missing from right here? How could there be if it's a series string set and it worked? I wonder if there was a 3 IF tube model and a 2 IF tube model, and this is the lower end of the two. Chassis 15C1. Picture tube V305. What is V305? V305. 17 BZP BZP4, 17 BZP4. First thing we're going to do is check the CRT as always. I guess maybe the chassis does wrap all the way around. Is that a rebuild? This might be a rebuild. Something Corporation. Is that Admiral? Yeah, it is. Okay, so that looks like it could be the original. Something there with a asbestos cover on it. All right, let's start by this is, boy, that's an odd clamp to hold the yoke on. Let's start by putting the CRT tester on at 17 BZP4. Okay, 6.3. You know, this would kind of concur with what I see here. It seems to be a semi-high hour set. It's obviously had some work done on it. This is not one of the new old stock. You could see the dirt, kind of the dirt there around the high voltage lines to the yoke. You can see how dirty it is around the cup of the high voltage, because the high voltage attracts dirt. You can see the kind of fuzz there. This is kind of typical of what you... See if I could get that open. Alright, so having a look inside the high voltage cage, we kind of get a similar feel for things, where the tire from the flyback is melted and laying down in the bottom of the cage. And it's starting to rain, so I think it's time to it's coming up. The emissions are coming up, but it's not going to have a great picture. It might be suitable. Did we have a model number on this at all? I don't see a model number. I guess we just have to go off of the serial number. I guess we just have to go off of a 15C1 chassis. Yeah, the emissions are coming up very slowly. They did say it's been sitting for 15 years or so. I mean, we know the CRT is tired just by looking at the picture, the overall picture here. Is it worth restoring? It hasn't reached good yet, but it's getting there. Okay, I think it's just about to do it. It's just about to touch green, and there it is. It's touched green. Feet are missing on the back. So that'll be part one of the Admiral 15C1. Pull a schematic on it, get the caps, and just go through it. Well, we could plug it in, I guess. It wouldn't hurt to see what it does. Looking at the construction of this thing, it looks like the knobs come off, these two screws come out, this screw comes out, and then the whole thing just lifts up off of it, and it comes out the front. I thought this was kind of interesting. Right there is the that's the double horizontal phase detector selenium diode. That'll go. I'll change that. I changed those out with two high-speed Schottky diodes. I just pull that out of there and either put them through and solder them or something, because the Schottkys will never ever. Is that actually? Yep, just pulls right out. So they were thinking ahead. Do we have a date code on this? I don't see anything that resembles a date code, but they were thinking ahead by putting a socket in there, because these things do go bad. They're a high failure part, especially on these old sets. So that is kind of cool. All right, here we go. Signal should be applied. Power's turned on. I'm actually feeding it via the BT modulator here, so I've got a good fat signal going into it. Contrast. What are these controls here? Vertical hold, contrast, on off volume. I'm not seeing... I'm not seeing anything here. That sounds like the signal from the modulator. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here, and I don't want to damage it. Yeah, I've seen this type of behavior over and over and over again. I've kind of nicknamed it secondary infant mortality, where you take something that's been sitting for 40 years or something and you plug it in, and it initially works, and it works okay, but then shortly after, the capacitors start shorting and other things start happening. But initially, out of the box, it works a secondary time. It's quite possible that he did have a raster on it. I don't know. And that something went wrong or something shorted. Yeah, this is very common for the type of behavior I see on this old stuff. Well, little surprise here. There's no high voltage, so that's really not a surprise. Alright, let's try this. So we're definitely drawing an arc off of there. Actually a pretty good arc. I'm thinking the horizontal oscillator's not running. Probably a cap failed. That diode thing I pulled out, that would not cause the horizontal not to run. I could put the meter on it. Alright, sure I'm about to get hell people talking about me on the forums for testing this like this, but I'm lazy and I have no fear of electricity. I don't care if I get shocked or burned. It really doesn't bother me. Right there is the plate cap. I have this connected in there. So let's just 250 milliamps. We'll have to look at the schematic, but that seems a little bit excessive to me. I'd probably figure that tube's good for 125. Alright, here we go. 53. What did he say it was? A 40? 48? 49? No, 53. That's more like it. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Here's our horizontal output tube. And of course these old SAMs don't... These old SAMs... These are all 6-volt tubes. So it doesn't, it just gives you a cathode voltage, which would tell you the current, but so what is the B plus on this thing? Where is the power transformer? Did I just miss that? 260 volts. Yeah, I would say 250 milliamps at 260 volts. What is that, 50 watts? Have to do the math on that. That's way too much for that tube. That tube will probably cruise along at 20-25 watts with no problem, but that... Alright, what did I do? Something is not right here because where are the dual diodes here? This is using a 6SN7 for the horizontal oscillator. Did I get... What did I do here? This is the wrong set. 19C1. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm an idiot. This looks a little bit better. It's a 15C1, except you guys had already figured that out. And let's see if this gives a cathode current here. This one will probably, let's see. Yeah, there's our dual diode right there. Yep, 110 milliamps. Of course, that's a cathode current, so the plate current should be 110 minus 8, so the plate current should be 102, and it's measuring 250. That would EOL that tube real quick. That's why I didn't leave it on but a few seconds, really. Maybe a minute. Yep. This is the right set. So a bunch of these capacitors, depending on what they are, you know, can go bad and cause this problem. More likely the one that would probably, well, this .022, the boost filter, if that thing shorts, it'll cause excessive draw and no high voltage. And a bunch of these up here, whatever, they're all going to get, if they're paper or whatever, the paper or plastic, they're going to get changed. And this thing is going to get changed. And all of these electrolytics are going to get changed. So we've got two 100s. The other thing is this is real critical on TVs. When you replace these with silicon, because silicon is so much more efficient, you're going to end up with like 300 volts over here. So I'm going to have to figure out what value resistor, which is easy because I got a power resistor decade box, and then put a big resistor like a 25 watt resistor in here to keep the voltage down. Anyway, it's part one. Part two will be I guess going forward to the recap and trying to get the horizontal section working.